Yeah. Okay. I want to welcome everybody out tonight to Curls and Cocktails number 4, and this one is all about color. Thank you all for coming out again. I love all y'all. Seeing all y'all. Okay, so the topic tonight is about color. We're going to talk about 3 parts of color. There is henna, which everybody's familiar with, right? Or maybe wants to know more about. There's like a semi or a demi, and then we have actual permanent color. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is just a little bit about hair, and I'll be using the color book. So here we go. And naturally occurring natural colors, the colors you can actually be born with, mostly hair. There's a lot of colors here back here. These are the others. But most hair goes into, it's a range of just 1 to 10. 1 being the blackest of black and 10 being the blondest of blonde. Okay, there's this 11 down here. I don't know where they got that from, but whatever. I only know about 1 to 10, so that's what I'm going to tell you about. Okay. Black is a 1B. That's most people don't have really black hair. This is like as dark as you can go. If you ever got braids and never had to buy that connect along, then you know that 1 is just the darkest. You'd be like, oh, that doesn't quite match. Yeah, that's what that is. And then you just get lighter as you go down. The browns turns to reds, turns to blondes, and just kind of goes down. Okay, so that's the color. So first off, we'll just start with henna. What henna is, we get asked a lot. Henna is an herb. It's like a bush, grows outside. Hooray, okay? So they take that, they cultivate it, they take the leaves, actually, you don't want like stems and sticks, which reminds me of something else, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, you just want the leaves, right? And they grind it up, and you get this powdery dust. And I had some henna, but I forgot it, so just pretend like I showed it to you. Henna is normally green or brown, because like I said, it comes from a leaf, and most leaves are that color. And what it is that henna naturally has a dye inside of it. That's just what it is. That's the way God made it, because it's special. So it has this dye in it. To help release the dye, you mix it with an acid. So that's why a lot of times when people are preparing henna and making that paste, they're having water in it just as a nice base to make a paste. You can use tea, which is just making it a special paste. But what's actually doing the good work is the acid. So there's lemon. You can use lime juice because it's like a lemon, right? Or you can use vinegar. All those things are doing is helping to break it down and release that dye that is naturally in there, okay? So that's henna. Once you make your paste and the dye's all released, you slap it on your head and you let it sit for a while. Henna does not have to sit on your hair for a long time. It could sit in the bowl for a long time, and you can put it on your hair for just a little bit of time. All it is you're just waiting for the dye to release from the leaves, okay? Different plants in different years and different seasons, just like how you can get a strawberry, and sometimes it's really sweet, and sometimes it's not as sweet. Some hennas have more of that dye, and some have less. That's all it is. But it's a stain. So I want you to imagine, everybody knows that's some Kool-Aid, right? Especially some red Kool-Aid. If you get that on your mama's counter, it's not coming out because it's a dye, and it's just staining it. That's all it is. And that's all henna is doing to your hair. It's staining it, okay? So you're not going to get a fiery copper red from henna unless your hair was already lightened to begin with. But what it will look like is once you go out in the sun or in bright light, that red will really come out. From there, you also have henna's cousin, cassia. Cassia is said to be colorless. It's really not colorless. The color is like yellow, like a really light blonde. But on dark hair, it looks like nothing, which is why they call it colorless. If you see something that's labeled as henna, and then it's cassia on the back, it's not henna, okay? Just know that. It's cassia. That's just what it is. Now, sometimes they'll add things to it to give it additional color, but it's not. Henna by itself is just a dye, and that's just what it is, okay? From there, then we can talk about semi and demi. So the way permanent color works is there's just, scientific things about it. But according to the government, if it's 10% or more, it's a permanent, and you have 10% or less, it's not. And what that percent of is some sort of bleach or peroxide. Something has to lift your color. So to lift the hair, what it's doing is opening up the cuticle, and it's removing that color out. So if it's greater than 10%, it's said to be permanent. If it's less than that 10%, it's said to be a semi or demi or whatever. Those other ones, so when you see them and they say there always has to be something to lift the hair. There always has to be something to lift the hair. Your hair is black. If you put a color on top of it, it's just going to be colored black, just like the henna. It's the same thing if you were to take a crayon, a black crayon on a white piece of paper, and you scribbled on it in black, and then you went back and scribbled on top of that in blonde or blue or whatever color. If you hold it to the light, you can kind of see that other color you scribbled on top of it with, but you're really not going to see it, and that's the same thing. You need something to open up the shaft and actually get the color in. While some people can get really good color from semi-permanent hair color, and that's just because they probably were high porosity to begin with, so that their cuticle was already open. When we talked about before, remember the cuticles are like shingles on a roof, right? So sometimes they can be really tight, compacted like this, and some people's are just naturally more open. So if yours is already more open, and you're using just a little bit to open it even more, then the color can really get in there. If it's tight, then you're like, I use this, and I thought absolutely nothing happened, and that is why. So then there's, so typical color, you use this peroxide or bleach, it lifts the hair. When it's done, it can either look like this here, where it's just kind of stripping the color out, or like this over here. Everybody's just kind of seen that, okay? So the hair is lightened, and then on top of that, you actually color it. So you take the color out, and then you put color on top of it to color. That's the traditional way that color is used almost everywhere, in your boxes you buy at Walmart, when you go to most salons. Now the salon here uses a completely different color, which does not use bleach. Now, it has to use a minimal amount of something to make it raised, and that's in, I'm just kidding, no, it's not that natural. There's a little bit of something in there to lift it, but the way that this color works is it primarily works by using heat. There's a whole pamphlet in the back where a really famous eco blogger talks about this exact product line that they're going to go over more as. But just the key is that it's not using your traditional bleach to lift the hair first. What it does do is it uses minimal amounts of heat to actually raise it. So there are other ways that you can open up your cuticle is by heat. We've always known that. That's why when you wash your hair, you should use hot water because that's helping open it up. And then when you're done, you're using final cool water, right, to close the cuticle back down. Same thing. So this uses heat, but it's heat under the dryer. They're not flat ironing your hair. It's minimal, and but I'll let them go more into that. But we're going to bring out just a few of our models. First, we're going to start with Bonnie, who is, hi, you want to come up and be my friend, please? I took a picture of her hair a couple months ago and put it up. As you guys can see, she has locks. Somebody spinning for me. She has so much color in her hair, and it's just so beautiful. I put the picture up on her site, and people were just shocked. They're like, oh my gosh, you can color your hair when you have locks? Yeah, because it's hair, so it can be colored. Yeah, but she's got some pink, she's got magenta, we've got some lighter blonde, some dark brown, a little bit of caramel, a little bit of coffee, just so beautiful in there, and she's being so sweet, just letting me mess with her hair. So what made you decide to get color in your locks?
I've always got color in my hair, even when it was relaxed, but I noticed that when it was relaxed, it didn't take the way I wanted. So when I got my hair locked, me and Shahad kind of talked, and I was like, okay, since my hair is locked, I want to try something different. So we just started experimenting with different colors and everything. So.
Yay, and you like it?
Oh, I love it.
How do you compare this color line that they use here to other traditional colors you've had in the past? Do you notice any changes? Or?
I do notice because it's not as harsh. Because you were talking about a lot of people who buy store-bought hair colors, and sometimes it's a little harsh because it has more something in it, like ammonia or something, and the hair type is different, so a lot of times it dries up. But with mine, I don't get anything to dry, any dry effect or anything.
Thank you. And then I'm going to pull Letitia. Letitia was at our Big Chop event and actually had our Big Chop done. Then was like, I gotta get my hair colored. So she just got thrown on the books the next day and got her color done. Spin around. Shahad did both of their colors. So just so y'all know. Okay, so Letitia, you have your Big Chop, and then the next day you got color. So how have you noticed? How does your hair feel to you? Have you had color before in the past?
This is how I've been all colors before.
So how does it feel? Can you kind of give me a comparison from the past to now? Still the same, still different, whatever, you don't notice? No pressure.
Right. Well, I mean, I can't really tell if it's more dry because I did the Big Chop at the same time. So it could have just been dry from that. I don't have a lot of shedding. It didn't smell really harsh. And she used a timer. It was a timer, and she take me out for me. And there's a bunch of different layered colors in there.
It's really good. Here, let me make sure the camera can get it all. Do y'all see that? Yeah, she's got some blondes and some reds and some browns and some darker browns. It's beautiful. Yay, thank you. All right, so the next up, we're going to let the stylists come up, and they're going to really get into it about the color. All right, we're good on that.